Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laurie Davis. I apologize. We're a little bit late getting started. We're just busy working on some technology. And so I thank you for your patience in that. And we're just a little bit late coming on board. But however, here we are. And I'm Laurie Davis. You're listening to The Laurie Davis Show. And we're streaming live right now on E360 TV, the Facebook page Self Worth the Missing Link Superstars, and YouTube. And we're working on some technology advances for the show. So please bear with us, and I apologize for our late entry today. And today we're going to just dive right in 10 ways to stick up for myself. Really? Is that not about having boundaries and having ways for me to protect myself? So, number one, number one is in order for me to stick up for myself, I must be very conscious and aware of how I treat myself. A very famous woman once said, "We must teach people how to treat us." We must teach people how to treat us. So if we have no idea how to treat ourselves, then how would we ever be able to expect others to treat us with the same way? Respect for oneself, self-regard, treating oneself with respect. Oh, and by the way, I just want to share, this is a notebook that I wrote up in 1998. 1998. How long ago was that? I still have it. And in it are my notes that I wrote for workshops, radio shows, events. And I uncovered it last week, and it's like this whole treasure chest of ideas and concepts. And I'm not talking much differently today than I did back then. I'm serious. So, have you ever made like a little tiny mistake and then all of a sudden you're berating yourself, you're beating yourself up, you're going, "Whoa." So, we need to change that. And because when we don't respect ourselves, we give other people permission to disrespect us as well. So oftentimes I wonder, why are people treating me so badly? Why are they lying to me? Why are they setting me up? Well, it's because I allowed that and I didn't have that respect. So other examples of a lack of respect include things like a lack of self-care. I'm not taking care of myself. Overindulgence or abuse of substances, alcohol, drugs, smoking. Self-inflicted punishment, unforgiveness for not being able to let myself off the hook for past mistakes. So, the number one ingredient we need to stick up for ourselves is self respect, a high regard for oneself, no matter what others choose to believe. So, how do I feel about my present level of self respect for myself? Do I make myself clear on I need to eat today? I need to get an 8 hour sleep tonight? Like, what am I doing? And I've often been in a position where I've had to ask myself that question. What behaviors do I have that would indicate that I lack self respect? Punishing myself, not only for what I did, but for what other people did to me, and thinking I was responsible. And what behaviors do I have that would indicate that I have a level of low self worth or no respect? And that would come right down to the bottom line that I'm unkind to myself. Wow. All right, number two. In order to stick up for myself, I know that if I don't stand for something, I will fall for anything. You think? We act upon the beliefs we hold about ourselves. If we believe on some level it's all right for another person, for example, to physically abuse me, if I think that's okay, well, what else could I expect? I'm putting out that message. It's okay to beat me 5 nights a week and then take me to dinner on Saturday and tell me you're sorry and everything's good. That's called the battered wife syndrome. But even in today's world, that could be the battered man syndrome. So it is critical, kind of like the first one, self respect. It's critical that we have a sense of the beliefs we hold so we can eliminate the ones that no longer serve us. So if I have to confront, stand up to an abuser, then that's what I need to do. Otherwise, life is going to become extremely difficult and complicated. So let's say, for example, if at one time you were told you were dumb or stupid, and we were told that by someone in a position of authority, like a teacher or a parent. Well, guess what? We believe them. We believe them because they're in positions of authority. And we continue to, what I say, be dumbed down. Dumbed down. And that's one of the reasons I had to leave the school system. I couldn't do it anymore because I was one of the programmers. You can't cross the street without a crosswalk guard. Oh, you're from a particular family, so you're not going to do well. I get that. Other beliefs, like I'm not pretty, I'm not smart. And these are old beliefs that we need to let go of. They limit us. And when we feel incompetent, we cannot stick up for ourselves. And I don't care who that person is. It could be, I remember firing my accountant, my lawyer, and my banker all in one afternoon because I chose to stick up for myself. Doesn't matter who the person is. If you get a medical report and you don't feel good about it, you're entitled to have a second report or a second opinion. That's called standing up for yourself. So when and where, right now, do I need to stick up for myself? Who's abusing me? My children? My partner? My boss at work? The bank teller? That can be pretty abusive right now today. And what fears do I have around confronting that? Well, it's fearful because we don't know what the reaction is going to be. And so we get all tied up in that. Well, what if they get mad? What if they leave? What if they slam the door? Well, who cares? Right. So right now would be a good time for you to list some people with whom you need to confront and put out a boundary. No, you can't show up here at 10 o'clock at night when I'm in bed for a cup of coffee. That's not happening. Mm-hmm. So that's another way to stick up for yourself, to establish some boundaries. It doesn't mean you're unkind or you're mean, but we spend a lot of time worrying about what other people are going to feel, when in fact, we're not really responsible for how someone chooses to feel about something that you say or do. You could say to your friend, you know what, after 10 o'clock, I'm in bed and please don't drop by. And you'll have one friend who would be offended by that. Or you might have another friend who says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. That's a reflection of where they are coming from, not where you're coming from. It's okay to have a boundary. How someone chooses to react to that, that's not ours. That's about them. Mm-hmm. All right, number 3. When you need to stick up for yourself, when we need to stick up for ourselves, it is important to have information about the other side. making sure we've heard the other side. I found it valuable in business to get inside information about the potential client before I present myself, our products, programs, and services, because I don't want to do anything to offend anybody. And this approach helps me to share how beneficial what we have to offer actually is. So when I hear negative comments about me or my organization, it's really better for me to go to the source. This is how you stick up for yourself. Let's say I get a phone call and somebody says, you know what, I heard that you don't have a psychology degree, so what are you doing giving information out to help other people? I've had that said to me. I couldn't tell you how many times. But I need to know that so I can come back and say, well, I don't need a degree in psychology because I'm not a counselor. I'm an educator. And I stick up for myself. I don't need a psychology degree for what I do. I'm a workshop leader. I'm a broadcaster. Do you need a psychology degree to be a broadcaster? I don't think so. And so there are people who will want to, bring you down as you're busy trying to climb the ladder. There'll always be people with their hands around your ankles trying to bring you back down so they feel comfortable with what they're doing and the position they're in. See? So children get punished for expressing themselves. Teenagers are labeled for expressing themselves. And as by the time we're an adult, we have a belief system that is totally distorted. Do your homework and be prepared with a plan. If we need to confront our partner about something, plan it out. Plan it out. Write it out. What you need to ask, what you need to say. Just use the info we learned and integrate it. Really helps. So what information do you need before you take your next stand? Whether that's in the workplace, in your marriage, with your children. What's your next move? Well, my next move is always a good question. And my good question starts with, is there any reason why? Is there any reason why we couldn't talk about that? Or have a conversation about that? In my experience, it's about people not having been forthright or didn't have the strength to come forward and say, Laurie, you really ticked me off. When? They don't tell me. So if we don't know, how can we support that? We can't. If I don't know that I've hurt you, how can I fix it? I cannot do that. See? So when has a lack of communication worked against you? Oh, lots of times. Lots and lots and lots of times. So another way to stick up for myself is to be willing to, as we move into number 4, communicate. We need to communicate. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't beat around the bush. Ask the hard questions. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. Just say it, ask it, and do it. Because there's no easy way to say something that's going to cause some emotional reaction. There's no easy way. We've been programmed to communicate in such a way so we don't hurt other people's feelings. Well, you know what I know? What really hurts people's feelings is after the fact that they find out that you lied to them, or you didn't tell them how you were really feeling about something, or the truth. In other words, we withheld information. And when we withhold information, that's a form of dishonesty. That's lying by omission. Lying by omission. We are not responsible for how other people choose to feel about it. So, in order to stick up for myself, we must be first in charge of our own feelings, and recognize when we're angry and when we're hurt and when we're disappointed, overwhelmed, and that these issues need to be communicated so we can stand up for ourselves. We need to manage our own emotions, not the emotions of other people. That's theirs. They have a right to their feelings, just like I have a right to my feelings. And I'll just share a personal experience. Yesterday, I went to go on the show, and for some reason, it didn't want to stream live on my Facebook page, the Laurie Davis Show. And I went, what? And I had some feelings about that because I don't like to disappoint my clients and not have them come on the show. So I'm making some changes to the way that I want the show to roll out there. And in the process of that, something happened with the Facebook streaming. So I've had to make some adjustments. And I'm okay with that. Now, the challenge will be for my clients to make the adjustments. Don't go to the Laurie Davis Show Facebook page. Go to Self Work the Missing Link Superstars page, and we're there. Or now on YouTube. Maybe some of you are watching us on YouTube right now. So, how can we communicate to make sure that people don't punish us, treat us badly, know what's acceptable, etc.? Well, that's another way to stick up for ourselves. Because traditionally, most of us have adopted the role of a victim, and it's okay for people to treat us like crap. No, it's not. And as I said earlier, it doesn't matter who they are, or what their title is, or what their position is. That does not give people a license to treat us badly. And oftentimes, the people who are the most hurtful are actually in our family. Have you noticed? Mm-hmm. I bet if I said some things to you, I wouldn't get away with it. But I bet if somebody close to you said it, it's okay. Well, the good news is it's not okay. And guess what else isn't okay? To communicate to myself that I'm not a good person, that I'm not pretty enough, that I'm not smart enough, that I can't do this. How many times a day do you say something like that to yourself? So it's important to monitor that self-talk, because that's the most dangerous of all. Because we actually believe what we tell ourselves. We might not necessarily believe what somebody else says, but when we say it, oh boy, that's full ownership. So be careful. Number 5, how to stick up for myself. Be fearless. Remember the story of David and Goliath? And by the way, right now I'm watching a series with Billy Bob Thornton called Goliath. Pretty cool. It's like a single one-man show who takes on corporations and big law firms. And Billy Bob I love him anyway, but he's excellent in that role. And the show is called Goliath because in the very first episode, he uses the example of how Goliath went up, a young boy, with a stone, and in his sling presented himself before the giant Goliath. And with one swing, young boy David, and with one swing of that slingshot, the giant lay dead. So one of the things that we tend to do is believe that other people have more power. Other people are bigger and better than we are. No. So when I'm faced with the giants to deal with, I think of this story all of the time. I also reflect on the analogy of the mosquito. If you don't believe as an individual that you can make a difference, then you've never spent the night in a tent with one singular mosquito. Buzz, 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 and you're slapping it and you're trying to get rid of it. Need I say more? That one mosquito can keep you awake all night. There's the power. Got it? Fear is learned. We learn to be afraid of the water. We learn to be afraid of mosquitoes. We learn to be afraid of spiders. We learn to be afraid of mice. Mm-hmm. So here's the beautiful thing. What we learn can be unlearned. We're not stuck with it. Got it? So what and whom do you fear? What are you afraid of? Well, I find working with my clients, you know what their biggest fear is? That something might work out to be great. They're not afraid of something failing because they're used to that. They're afraid of something working out great. So I would suggest to you that you make a list of all your fears that you've learned. And parents pass down fears to their kids. So if mom's afraid of mice, I had this example last week in a workshop. Mom was afraid of mice, and so she made all her kids afraid of mice. But the most important question is, what are you not afraid of? What is it that you're okay with and you are not afraid? And I would hope that you would say success or the good life or the abundant life. Don't be afraid of it. It's there for you. But we have to open those channels of fearlessness. And that's how we stand up for ourselves. That's how we stick up for ourselves, is to make sure that we eliminate all that fear. Because we were programmed as children. There were two ways to do things. One, the right way and the wrong way. And if you didn't do it the right way, you would be punished. And if you did it the right way, you may or may not be rewarded. So, punishment and reward. We learned how to do that very, very well. And so, though that program or that tape's entrenched deeply into our neural paths, and they're hard to break, but it can be done. Mm-hmm. By the way, if you have a story to tell, or you know someone who has a really great story they're willing to share it, my goal on the show is to share people's stories, not just my stories, but other people's stories. So if you have a story to tell, maybe you've already put it in a book, and you're willing to put your story out there to help other people, then you're the kind of person I would like to speak with and have on the show. I don't want anything out of a textbook. I'm looking for the real deal. You've had a journey and a story that would give other people hope, then you are who I need to talk to. So please contact me directly, either call or text, or you can email me. My text number is 780-566-2340. Got it? Or you can email me at the Laurie Davis Show at gmail.com. And let's get our stories out there, because our stories give hope to other people. Because when they realize, hey, Laurie or Mary or Bill, wow, you got through that? Then I can get through this. So please, if you have a friend or yourself that you know has a powerful story and they're willing to share their story. See, a lot of people aren't willing to do that because they're still full of fear and afraid they're going to be judged. Well, this is the no judgment zone. So come on down and tell your story. All right, number 6. In order to stand up for ourselves or stick up for ourselves, we must be heard. Have you ever told somebody something and you're talking and blah, 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 and they're like this? They're looking at their watch and they're, well, that's been our experience for many situations. So once we have decided to stick up for ourselves, that's a decision, by the way, we will ensure and follow through to make certain we have been heard. And I just, a while back shared with one of my family members, you may not like what I'm saying, you may not like how I'm feeling, but I do have a right to stand up for myself, and I will do that. No matter what you think or what anybody else thinks, that's my right to stand up for myself. For years, I had great ideas, creative solutions, and because of my lack of confidence in myself, I didn't attach any value to it. So as a result, people were able to play with that and manipulate that. So therefore, in presenting myself and my ideas, I failed for them to hear what was going to happen next or what they could count on or whatever, because I lacked the confidence to put that out there. May I do it today? Can I do it today? Absolutely. 30 years later? Yeah. Don't mess with me now. I would say and do things based on assumptions of what I thought they wanted to hear and what they wanted me to do. And this rang true not just in my business, but also in my personal life, my former marriages. When I tap danced to meet the needs of my partner, I was definitely not heard. You know why? Because I didn't feel safe saying what I needed to say. And that was my fault. That was my business. That was my bad, right? As the kids would say. So this became a pattern, and stepping into a third marriage the same way was frightening indeed. Until one day my husband said to me, "Why are you talking like that? I'm not him. I'm not that guy that you were married to. I'm not that guy. So stop with that." So now I speak up and I do not allow someone else's insecurities or lack of confidence kill my vision, kill my life, kill my purpose. This is no longer acceptable. But see, I was the kind of person, because I have a big heart, if I was hearing something in somebody's voice, then I would automatically shift and say something that I thought they would want to hear. And when I found out that that wasn't acceptable either, I just had to go do my own thing. But now I'm guarded because there's certain people that have laid out the groundwork, and I just don't go there. I'm not going there. Where one time I would have, you know, made that my mission in life. But yet at the same time, I'm heard. Do not mess with me. Do not, judge me. We've all had our journey. So, what new approach do you need to use to be heard? Well, one of the things I did was I stopped talking. I got very quiet and I just listened. Listen, 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 and pick up on the clues and the feelings and what people were saying to then create my next move. And I have to tell you, 90% of the time, it's not even about me. It has nothing to do with me. But that took me a long time because I used to take things personally and made it about myself. Yeah, that didn't work either, because guess what? I might as well have called it right at the moment because that would have been more productive. Number 7, credibility. Action speaks louder than words. There's 3 kinds of people in the world. There's the people that talk the talk. They go on and on and on about something they know absolutely nothing about. And in my world, that's called BS, or smoke coming out of your butt. I know there are those 3 kinds of people. So talk the talk. Then there's people who talk the walk. They know things and they know their stuff, but they don't have it implemented in their life. So they just talk about it. And I see this a lot on our social media. You see all these people that I know putting out quotes and pearls of wisdom, and I know they're not living that. Well, that's the BS and the smoke coming out of your butt. They know that. They talk it, but they don't live it. So the best kind of person is the person who walks the walk. And the person who walks the walk doesn't even have to say anything. They just be that. They just do that. And they act upon their decisions. If we decide to do something, we're going to do it. We're going to do it now. And we're going to make things happen. Because one of the things I've learned over the years, you cannot argue with results. And when you have the results behind you and the credibility behind you, that's what's called credibility. At the time, it's labor intensive. I've worked thousands and thousands of hours for no money. And I've done and given away lots of free products, workshops, everything. But the payoffs are too numerous to mention. It's easy to stick up for yourself when you have credibility. That's why now, after 30 years, when somebody says, oh, I know somebody who does exactly what you do, I can say, no, I'm sorry. That's not the facts. Because nobody does anything like I do. Whereas back in the day, I would have been intimidated by that and would have had to do my research and think, oh, does this person, no. But that's what years of experience does, brings you credibility, brings me credibility. How can anybody be doing exactly what I'm doing when I'm the one that invented it? Yeah, exactly. So what do you need to do right now to heighten your personal level of credibility? Well, here's an easy one. If you've spent 10,000 hours in any area of expertise, so whether that's teaching school, baking cakes, being online, massage therapist, you've been a lawyer, whatever, it doesn't matter. Being a parent, if you've spent 10,000 hours there, you are an expert and have the right to mentor others. If you haven't spent 10,000 hours there, you have no right to be talking about anything. We need to know that in order to be able to stick up for ourselves, we have to spend the time building the credibility. And I spent years doing that. And lots of times for no money, because I wanted to build my reputation and my experience. All right, number 9, self-worth. Oh man, this is key. I know that our self-worth and a sense of personal greatness and how we regard ourselves is what carves out our future. From that place, we decide who we're going to marry, what we're going to do for a career, how we will be treating ourselves, how we treat others, what my finances are going to look like. And I have to say that my greatest gifts came from the people that presented to me the tragedies, the hardships, the failures, the losses, the disappointments and letdowns. They were my most valuable learning curves. I learned a lot. I just kept getting smarter and smarter. And so I'm really grateful to the people who brought me a challenge, because from that place, I was able to build my own self-worth. The greater my sense of deserving, the more I have to offer. I'm in the business of serving adults, youth, and young children with the with the repair and restoration of their self-worth. That's my job. And trust me, I am not going to live long enough to do it all. So, what do people with high self-worth look like? Well, they certainly don't hold grudges. They certainly ask for forgiveness. They take responsibility for the messes and the mistakes. But when we ask for the forgiveness, if the other person's not willing to do that, there's not a whole lot we can do about that, because that's theirs. So self-worth is being able to place value on myself when everybody in the world is saying I'm not worth it, or I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong with me. Right? And the last one is number 10. Another way to stick up for myself is to be able to stand alone. Excuse me, I have to blow my nose. In order for us to stick up for ourselves, we must reach a place where we can stand alone on our own 2 feet and be okay with that. And the lesson that came to me around that mostly was COVID. COVID-19, I was on my own. I was definitely on my own. Without the support of my husband, I would have to say I was on my own. And even in that situation, a lot of times I was on my own. This does not come easily, because we all have a basic need to feel loved and to feel respected and supported. And I personally have paid a very high price for these commodities, because I thought you had to buy those. I thought you had to earn those. I thought you had to. And even though I did all that, it didn't happen. I don't remember too many people calling me up during COVID and saying, "Are you okay? Is there anything you need?" When my whole business was going out the door. But I continue to love who I am and know that I am worthy and know that I have a purpose and a reason for being here. So I learned a long time ago how to love myself. And I worked and controlled and executed situations and people in order to feel loved. I manipulated that because there was such a deep need for me to feel loved, because I didn't love myself. But once I embraced the self-love, that made me stronger to stick up to those who were probably supposing to be providing that, and they didn't and they couldn't. So now I attract love because I'm able to love me with lots left over to give to others. I reversed it. Instead of me looking for the attention. And I was very good at that. And I played the victim role. And I have felt sorry for myself. And last year I had a brush with cancer. And I was sick from May till October the 1st. And I never really asked anybody for anything. And I had a couple of friends who supported me, but other than that. And I was okay with it. I went to the hospital by myself. I had my surgery by myself. I arranged my own transportation by myself. Because my husband is elderly and I didn't want him in the hospitals, maybe contracting COVID or something else. So I have learned how to become my best cheering section, my best friend ever. Sometimes I'm the funniest person I know. Trusting myself, and therefore I can finally stick up for myself. The biggest payoff is now I'm able to teach others how to do it. So if you're listening to this broadcast today, or you're going to be listening to it, our broadcast today is archived in e360tv.com. We are streaming live on Self-Worth, the Missing Link Superstars Facebook page. Go on in and join. I'm hoping to get back up and running on the Laurie Davis Show Facebook page. We just need to create some new identity there, because you know how Facebook is. And then also, I regenerated my YouTube channel, and so we're streaming there right now. And when you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see shows in there from 5 years ago when I was on the radio. You can go back and there's this whole big archive. So what situations do I have right now that I need to support for myself and stand up for myself? I have a right to stand up for myself. And wouldn't that be beautiful if all of our children who are being bullied right now knew that they have a right to stand up for themselves? Would that not be cool? Because most people don't even think they have the right to do that. And we do. And it doesn't matter who the other person is. I don't care who it is or what position they hold. If I'm being treated poorly, I will point that out and say, we need to reframe how we're going to communicate. If you have a story to tell, or you know someone who has a really great story that needs to be told, and they're willing to come on the air with me and share it, I'm looking forward to hearing from you about that and hearing from them, because this is the direction that our show is taking. It's been there all along, but we've interviewed a bunch of different people who didn't really share their stories, but right now, that's my focus. So today we went over 10 ways to stick up for myself, respect myself, my core beliefs, do my homework, communicate, be fearless. We must be heard, to have credibility, to take ownership of my self-worth and my self-confidence. And the final one, do not give my power away. Do not give my power away. In the essence of my own loving myself. When we don't love who we are, we give our power away to other people. And that is so wrong, wrong, wrong. All right. Well, I'm Laurie Davis. Thank you so much. If you've been tuning in live on any of our destinations, I appreciate you. And I look forward to having our Facebook connection soon, and that presence, because I love it when people are listening in and you can make comments and share the show. Thank you so much. Have a terrific rest of the day, and I look forward to talking with you soon. I apologize again for the late start. There was a few things going on here with the technology, and so maybe you started listening and then you had to leave. So anyway, we're on track. The Laurie Davis Show is alive and well, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Thank you so very much, and bye for now, and you have a great day.